total 78 for 1. Ogis comes back in strike. He's 26. Hodge on 38.
And that's going to be over the fence. 6 runs.
Well, it
well
was
struck.
in the slot, and he went over extra cover, clearing the boundary with ease. And the extra cover, orthodox extra cover, there was no danger in the shot. He deliberately played it, went all the way, got a maximum. The total rushes on to 84.
So the Winter Island volcanoes, as I said earlier on, they're really erupting here
Extra
this
cover,
morning.
there was no.
And of course, we're in the northern part of St. Vincent and the Grenadines. This is considered to be red zone area, Charlo. So anything explosive is expected this morning as Gulshan races in. And this one is outside the off stump and worked nicely into that deep backwards square leg position. And one more added to the total. It's on to 85 for the loss of 1. And just before the team started this morning, there was a minute silence for the passing of a late Vincentian cricketer, Dyke Cato, who would have represented St. Vincent and the Grenadines, and certainly within these parts and the northern part of St. Vincent and the Grenadines, well-known, Charlo.
A very household name here at Park Hill.
Gulshan this time to bowl to Hodge. Hodge is beaten outside the off stump. He was prodding forward and had absolutely no knowledge there. Through to the wicketkeeper, and good comeback there from Gulshan.
Good ending to the over, having been struck for some 8 or so runs in that over, but really coming and finishing strong. So at the completion of 8 overs with the Windward Islands, 85 for 1.
So still maintaining that 10+ scoring rate here this morning at the Park Hill playing field. It's not the blistering sun that we are accustomed to. There's a bit of a cloud cover, but no concern with regards to rain, and a nice decent breeze. As you see the flags in the distance, they're fluttering, and must be pleasant for the Nepalese cricketers out there. First time here in St. Vincent and the Grenadines, and they are certainly going to be playing their group matches at the Arnersville playing field. So, new bowler to be introduced from the northern end. And that's Pratis. This time we'll be bowling to August. And just a change in the personnel as far as the fielding is concerned. Player going to that deep mid-wicket boundary, and what is considered to be a sort of short fine leg put in place. So here comes Pratish. And fielder comes off of that deep mid-wicket position. One more added to the total.
So the total on to now 86. 86 for 1. We are in over number 9. And Ogisi moves on to 34 with that single. And the aggressive Kevin Hodge, who's on 38, comes back into strike.
Hodge out of Dominica, and yes, would have had that test series down under for the West Indies, where he
had a couple of half centuries.
Yes, practice. And Hodge is driving. I don't think he was looking for that area, more on the offside. Got the inside edge and rolled out into that mid-on position. Nonetheless, 1 run completed. Total advance is on to 87.
So again, we see that rotation of the strike, the right-hand, left-hand combination. Umpires moving from left to right.
Practice to August, and this one works nicely into that mid-on position. The long on is off the fence, and good return coming in, but I believe, no, the finger is up, he's run out. Calvin Hodge goes.
From the moment I saw it, I thought it was rather suicidal. was, I think, pushing it a little too far. And umpire Butler in the right position, didn't hesitate, raised that dreaded finger. Hodge goes. I think he would be very disappointed in the way he got out.
Certainly. The ball was dropped into that mid-on position, but the fielder was quickly off the fence, wasted no time in getting that return back into the stumps.
And that was hit rather firmly
Yes.
as well. So it's really, I think it was definitely a suicidal single.
So the Volcanoes, they've lost their second wicket, 88 for the loss of 2. And I believe the new batsman coming to the crease should be Teddy Bishop.
Should be. Youngster, very slimly built.
Yes, out of Grenada. And would have had that one ODI for the West Indies. Unfortunately, didn't produce the runs that many, especially in Grenada, were looking for. But he has certainly a long road ahead of him and can only get better going forward, Charlo.
Well, once he's decided to do the hard work, can only get better going forward. So he would have to buckle down and really work at his game.
So Nepal will be happy with that wicket, of course. They were certainly under the gun of Kabim Hodge, being supported by Augustine, and to see the back of him, hopefully it will bring some relief to this Nepalese attack. Practice it is. Runs past umpire Butler, and one that he just hikes. That's going to sail away, and that's 6 more added to the total.
Again,
Dismissive.
line on the body and nonchalantly played over deep backward square. And clearing the ropes for 6. And the total hustles on to 94.
94 for the loss of 2. So
they are maintaining that run, that scoring rate, that run rate above 10.
it's just so very much important. And this is a Winter Island Volcanoes team that there's no Sonny Lambers, there's no Andre Fletcher. Of course, Fletcher pretty much still part of the West Indies outfit as a fringe player. Obed McCoy, also part of the reserve unit for the West Indies, and one would not expect them to see them here today, but it's still a fairly strong side here this morning.
Pretty good lineup. I just had a word with Sonny Lambers a while. He's carrying an injury. But quite a lot of youngsters in the WINDWARD, and have an opportunity now to showcase their skills.
Without a doubt. And we've been seen, of course, on the Asian continent. So all those people in Nepal, this is beautiful St. Vincent and the Grenadines. And during our break, we'll show you some images of this gem, as this delivery is, well, didn't get a touch. I was finding at it outside the off stump. And umpire Butler at one moment appeared as if he was going to signal a wide, but didn't do so.
Well, a second thought, and he's in the perfect position. So 41 to Ogis, and Bishop yet to get off the mark.
Here's practice. And this one, Ogis is beaten and he's stumped. Is he?
Yes, he is.
Yes. And the wicketkeeper was up.
And that's the thing about cricket, a good partnership, they fall off one wicket and then the other follow. And WINDWARD's really from a position of 80 odd for 1, they are now 94 for 3. And he has to make his way back. So it's like a Descarte coming into bat. He can strike the ball. I know that he is a powerful striker of the cricket ball as well. I've seen him in the VPL. Knows that he can really hit this ball a pretty long way. So at the end of over number 8, it's 94. 94 for 3. Eddie losing 2 quick wickets there.
Yes,
WINDWARDs.
without a doubt. And these two certainly will want to consolidate, and very importantly, give the Volcanoes a good total of which they can defend. As a new bowler, that's Sagar Dakal, will come in. And just worked into the offside. Fielder from that short point position comes around and picks up. And very importantly, no run added.
Well, anxious moment. Bishop wants to get off the mark.
Here comes Dakar. And again into that cover region. Fielder comes off the cover boundary. And one more to the total as Auguste moves on to 43, is it?
Well, Bishop is off the mark. Auguste felt stump for 41.
Bishop, my apologies.
And it's now Descartes who comes in to strike. So there's a left-hand, right-hand combination.
And so important. We've seen that, thus far throughout this innings from the Windward Islands Volcanoes, as Descartes, stockily built, and settles over his bat as Dakar now comes in. And to this one, he's looking to hike it. There's a loud appeal and a signal wide. And I believe it was an attempt by the wicketkeeper to not have umpire call that wide.
Thought he heard a sound. Right. Umpire Afran Bayam is in the perfect position.
Here comes Dakar to bowl to Descartes, and one forces him back. Well defended. Sagar Dakar. Descartes again is forced back. And getting some respect here.
Yes, a good over thus far. The total remains at 96. 96 for 3. Some 2 runs so far in the over.
This delivery down the leg side, and that's the second wide. All of a sudden, there's a bit of buoyancy and urgency from this Nepalese team as Dakar outside the off stump, and Descartes fans at it through to the wicketkeeper. No touch whatsoever. Total remains on 97 for the loss of 3. Sagar Dakar. And Descartes is beaten outside the off stump. And really a wonderful over there from Sagar.
Very good over indeed. Some 3 runs coming in that over. And at the end of over number 10, 97, so 9.7 runs and over. 10 overs to go. I think that the Windwards would want to look somewhere between 175, 180, possibly 200.
Well, as I said early on, this looks like a 200-plus ground. Based on the size, the outfield is quite lush, and the conditions are ripe for exciting cricket here at Park Hill, and we'll anticipate that the Windward Islands will try to get as close as possible to that 200-run total, Charlo. Meantime, of course, preparations continue here in St. Vincent and the Grenadines for the hosting of 5 World Cup games. You notice that the light towers are going up at Arnoldville.
Yes, and going up at a pace as well. So they have all the assurance that everything will be in place come the 13th of June.
This is bold, and that, for me, was simply giving his wicket away. Head in the air, played all over it.
Swing at it, lost his middle stump, and the Windwards really, from a very good position of 84 for 1, find themselves now 97 for 4.
And really a careless shot there from Auguste. Was looking to hike. Really a careless shot there from Auguste. Was looking to hike. In the air, played all over it, and lost his off stump in the process. 97 for the loss of 4, as the new batter's out for the Windward Islands Volcanoes. So into over number 11 as Irie will continue the attack. So it's Douglas, the new batter, in for the Windward Islands Volcanoes. Irie goes to Douglas, and Douglas works that one into that gully area. Was racing off of that single that certainly was not there. Sent back by Descartes, and Windward Islands remain at 97 for the loss of 4. And these two will need to stick around for some time. This delivery forces Douglas back, but he punches nicely down to that long on position. He's off the mark and scores on to 98 now for the loss of 4. And we have certainly 1 or 2 spectators from surrounding areas, and as we continue to expect to see more. This one is as the batsman Descartes coming forward, just punching it into the offside. Irie fielding to his own bowling. Total remains at 98 for the loss of 4. Outside the off stump and forced into the offside. Cover fielder in Karan picked it up and got that to return quickly back into Asif, the wicketkeeper. So it's 99, and this is the th over. And this one is forced wide. You're going to get very close to that square boundary, and 4 well-taken runs there from Descartes. I haven't seen a boundary for the last 10 balls thereabouts. And they're bringing the 100 up for the Windward Islands Volcanoes. They're now 103 for the loss of 4. Lost their captain very early, and then there was that nice partnership from Auguste and Captain Hodge, who unfortunately ran himself out. And since then we had a couple of quick wickets, and these two in Descartes and Dylan Douglas will certainly have to look to rebuild here for the Windward Island Volcanoes, as we see Rohit Kumar from the southern end to take up the attack. This time we'll be bowling to Dylan Douglas. Douglas plays a nice flowing drive. Fielder comes off a deep mid-wicket boundary, and 1 run in the process. 104 for the loss of 4. Descartes has already shown that he wants to get things going for the Windward Island Volcanoes. And dead ball signal there by the umpire. Certainly will have to re-bowl this one. Rohit. Descartes is working it nicely into the offside. Fielder from that point position comes in. And there's just 1 more added to the total. So following this game here today, there will be another on Thursday, then on Saturday, as Rohit this time wraps the batsman on his pads, but they're going to sneak a quick single there, and total now to 106 for the loss of 4 wickets. But just making the point that the team Nepal preparing for Cricket World Cup 2024, the T20 World Cup, and following today's game, there will be another on Thursday, and certainly on Saturday right here at this lovely Park Hill playing field. And Rohit this time will come into bowl to Dylan Douglas, and Douglas was looking to bang that one square of the wicket, played under rather than on top of it, and it's into the gloves of the wicketkeeper. Total remains at 106 for the loss of 4. This time gets the bat onto it, and field on that deep mid-wicket boundaries asked to come in. One more run added in the process, and the total is now at 108 for the loss of 4. Descartes works it into that short mid-wicket position, and good work there from Rohit, fielding to his own bowling, and couldn't prevent the single nonetheless, but created a bit of an anxious moment there for the two in the middle for the Windward Islands Volcanoes. Total is on to 109 for the loss of 4 in wicket. Win over number 12, and worked into the offside, and striking the umpire there on that right heel of his. He's limping a bit in the process. One more added to the score for the Windward Island Volcanoes. The end of a fairly decent over there from Rohit, and it's 110 now for the loss of 4 wickets. 110 for the loss of 4, the Windward Island Volcanoes. So yet another change for this Nepal bowling attack from the northern end. We have Sagar Dakal. He had a couple overs from the southern end and been switched to the northern end. As Dylan Douglas will take strike. Just some changes taking place in the field. And Sagar Dakal will now come into bowl to Douglas. And Douglas plays this one bounce to the field in that deep backward square position, and single taken in the process. 111 for the loss of 4. Old Nelson on the scoreboard here for the Windward Islands Volcanoes. And this time, Descartes is going to face his Saga bowls and work nicely, and picking up a single in the process. His deliveries worked into that gully position, and no run resulting. Douglas settling over his batters. Sagar Dakal comes in, and this one attempted to work it off his pads. I don't believe he got a touch onto it. Let's wait for the signal from umpire Butler. Yes, one leg by. And one more to the total. It's 113 for the loss of 4. Into the 13th over. And scoring rate is certainly slowed up for this Winter Islands outfit. The Sagar Dakar comes in and bowls this time to Descartes. He punches down to deep, long on. And just one more to the total. Showing some aggression there all along the carpet here at the Park Hill playing field. But the fielder was always in place. And just one run resulting. No run available there, and threw was quickly and missed the stumps. And that's the end of a very good over there from Sagar Dakar. The Winter Island Volcanoes, after 13 overs, they are 114 for the loss. 114 for the loss of 4 wickets. And the run rate is now at 8.76 per over. At one time they were at 11 runs per over, so the Nepal attack doing some repair work here at this point in time and pulling back the early advances made by this Winter Island Volcanoes team. Here is Douglas working this one off his pads and into that short square position, and one more added to the total. It's now 115 for the loss of 4. Bowler from the southern end is Irie, Dependra Singh Irie. This time we'll be bowling to Descartes as just a few adjustments being made to the field, and Irie now to Descartes, and he drives down to long on. One more added to the total. 116 now for the loss of 4. And would have gotten a little bit of a bat, I believe, onto this one. Let's see the signal. And none coming from the umpire, so one more added to the Volcanoes total. Irie comes in and bowls to Dylan Douglas, and Douglas was looking to hoik this somewhere over mid-wicket. Didn't really get much bat onto ball, but did enough to get that single, and it's now at 119 for the loss of 4. 119 for 4. And this is going to get very close to that mid-wicket position. Sampal comes around. And, well, unfortunate there, but in the end, no additional run. That one just stayed into the pitch era. Didn't get up there for Irie to collect. Quite unfortunate. But luckily there was that backup fielder to prevent any further addition to the total. It's 119 for the loss of 4. And this one is down to long on. And the Nepal fielding has been not the best. We've seen there was that one drop chance early off Kavem Hodge, and there's certainly been 1 or 2 misses in the field. As that was the end of over number 14. It's 120 for the loss of 4. And with some 6 overs remaining, some 36 balls to come, the Winter Island Volcanoes, especially these 2 at the crease, will be looking to up the tempo going forward. Maybe looking at a total of about 175, 180 at one point in time. 200 is pretty much on the cards. And still cannot be written off here at Park Hill. It's a fairly small ground by international standards. And still have one or two big hitters to come for the Volcanoes in the hutch. As we're now going to get some pace from the northern end. Karan looked fairly decent. He's certainly would have had his moments in his opening 2 overs. This time he'll come into bowl to Dylan Douglas, and a delivery that he pulls nicely. It's going to get fairly close, and good work down there by Jora, preventing any further addition. Just one more. So it's 121 now for the loss of 4. As Descartes just taking guard once again. Looks like a middle stump guard. And Karan. Prepares to come in a few steps and then breaks into his strides. Pass umpire Butler. And this one is Hoyt. Long, high, over mid-wicket. That's gone. That's going to look for some bananas that are close by. And big lusty blow there from Descartes. Taking the total now up to 127 for the loss of 4. So that was a huge hit, and that was 6 on any ground. I can say that. Descartes putting a lot of muscle into that one. And there's now that search on for the ball. It's now being returned. And that came straight out of a banana field that is close by here at the Park Hill playing field. 127 for 4. So there's Karan. A delivery that is outside the off stump. It had some height in it. Batsman was looking there at the umpire for. Now we see the signal coming. So 1 shot for the over. And Karan, after being struck for 6, deciding that he's gonna hit the deck and hit it very hard. As Descartes settles. He runs in now. And the delivery outside the off stump, pulled to the onside. Thinking about the second run. It certainly was not there. Wickets disturbed in the process, but bat was firmly planted. And total goes on now to 128 for the loss of 4. And it's the 15th over. So this time it's going to be Dylan Douglas facing up to Karan, and Douglas drives. Lovely. It's going to get close to that cover boundary position, and the fielder gets around just in time. And 2 runs added to the total. It's now 130 for the loss of 4. But a nice flowing off drive there from Dylan Douglas. And Winning Island Volcanoes. And it's the 15th over, 130. Karan. And Douglas plays this one, finds a short, fine leg position. and fielder well placed, preventing any addition to the total. That's the end of the over. So at the end of the 15th over, the Winning Island Volcanoes batting first here at the Park Hill playing field in this practice game for the Nepal team as they prepare for Cricket World Cup 2024. They are 130 for the loss of 4, 130 for the loss of 4 after 15. A scoring rate of 8.7 runs per over. So, Sampal Kami, this time from the southern end, to bowl to Descartes. Descartes hugs this one. He's going to be out caught. Yes. So, there is Descartes hiking that one. And a simple catch there to Karan. The Winning Island Volcanoes losing their 5th wicket. It's now 130 for the loss of 5. And certainly, Descartes must be a bit disappointed in that shot. Maybe was looking for that gap between the deep cover and the long off position. But found the cover fielder coming in, and Winning Island Volcanoes in the process losing their 5th wicket. So being pushed back a bit, the Volcanoes, as the new batsman comes to the crease. Darren Ned, the new batter, takes his guard, and Sampal Kami picking up a wicket in this 16th over. We're now coming to bowl to Ned, and aborted his run as there were still some instructions being given. And we'll now bowl, and Ned etched this one straight into the glove of the wicketkeeper. Wicket number 6, well taken there by Mohammed Asif. And Darren Ned getting the golden duck here at Park Hill. And the Volcanoes are now 130 for 6. And let's hope that it doesn't all fall away for the Volcanoes. But he was forced back, and that bat was left hanging outside the off stump, took the outside edge, and wicketkeeper Mohammed Asif Sheikh made absolutely no mistake, ensuring that that one was neatly pouched in that glove of his. And 130 now for the loss of 6. So Kami now on a hat-trick. So, new batsman coming to the crease. There's Larry Edwards. And no helmet as Sami. That's Kami, sorry. Sampal. I believe I actually had the bowling correct. Is the captain Rohit comes in and bowls to Larry Edwards, and Edwards avoids the hat-trick. And very enthusiastic Rohit picked up in that area and tossed it back quickly there to wicketkeeper Mohammed Asif. So Rohit Kumar Podel, the Nepal captain, comes in and bowls to Larry Edwards, and Edwards is in defense this time. working it back up on the offside and picked up there by Rohit. Total remains at 130 for the loss of 6. Edwards can only find that fielder coming in, and the brakes are certainly on by Team Nepal. As Rohit now passes Empire, balls to Larry Edward, and Edward just can only find that short mid-wicket position. That's the end of a very good over from the captain. An over in which he picked up 2 wickets and keeping the Windward Islands in this, after 16 overs, I beg your pardon, at 130 for the loss of 6. And Nepal certainly avoiding a late onslaught from the Windward Islands Volcanoes as we welcome back the sunshine here to the Park Hill playing field. Had a bit of a cloud cover for most of the morning, but it's almost blue skies here. There's just 1 or 2 clouds hanging here and there, as now we see both players going back to their helmet. Douglas, it is going to face this delivery and pulls at 6 runs. 6 runs there to Dylan Douglas. Total advance is down to 136 with a loss of 6. So Sampal Kami, the ball to Dylan Douglas, and Douglas is getting a one right up in the block hole and just drops it short, and they'll come back for the second very quickly. Throw comes in and it's the run out. Let's see the signal. And umpire Butler doesn't seem too interested. For a moment I thought he was gone, but a good throw coming in there from Karan, racing off the boundary and trying to first and foremost avoid the second and picking up the wicket. It didn't happen. 2 more added to the total, now 138 for the loss of 6. So Douglas is now up to 23 as bowler comes in now, and this delivery finds a player coming off of that deep square leg position, and it's 1 more to the total. 139 now for the loss of 6. Douglas is on to 24, and the new batter in Larry Edwards taking guard. As you might have picked it up in our microphone, some chattering and instructions going around from a Nepalese fielder. And now Captain Rohit asking that short fine leg to go right back on the fence. And player's going to come also onto the deep backward square leg boundary in Karan. So just some changes taking place as Sampal comes in out to bowl to Larry Edward, and Edwards is forced back, punches into the into the onside, and 1 more added in the process. It's 140 now for the loss of 6. And can be forced to break his run there. He's going to go back to the top of his mark. And will now come into bowl to Douglas. Delivery that is high, straight back over the bowler's head. And that's 6 more. Almost striking all of the spectators under the coconut trees there at the northern end. Close to that scoreboard. It's 150. Make that 146, I should say, for the loss of a 6. But good shot there from Douglas. And he advances to 30. Sampal. Delivery, and it's pulled. And it's going to get it way close to the fence. And just pulled back there by Karan. 2 runs added in the process. It's now on to 148 for the loss of 6. So, good comeback over there for the Windward Island Volcanoes. And with 3 more to go at 148 for 6, they might very well still be fancying a total of 175. To put some challenge here for this Nepal team, as Captain Rohit picked up 2 wickets in his previous over, and would certainly like for such to happen, or even better things in this over from the southern end here at the Park Hill playing field. So Larry Edward, he's on 8, and Rohit, this one is he bowled? It will appear that such is the case, yes. Had a swing at it and clipped that bail there, and Edward bowled behind his back. And Rohit, just like he started his previous over, getting the wicket on his very first ball. The Volcanoes are 148 for the loss of 7, as Asif Hooper will now come to the wicket. The bearded Asif Hooper, and pretty much a player who knows the conditions here at Park Hill. Asif Hooper is from the northern end of St. Vincent and the Grenadines, from the North Windward constituency, as we call it, and a player who can certainly muscle his way around. He's shown his exploits in the local VPL here in St. Vincent and the Grenadines, but also done it in 1 or 2 other Windward Islands, and was a T10 tournament in Tobago that Asif Hooper also excelled. So brings a lot to the table here, and would really like to ensure that the Volcanoes post as much as possible on the board. As Rohit comes in out to bowl to Asif Hooper. Hooper works this one off his legs, and the fielder couldn't prevent that single. It's on to 149 now for the loss of 7. Asif Hooper immediately off the mark. Douglas is still very much there. He's on 32. Kabem Hodge contributed 38. As this one, he hikes straight. And it's into another banana patch here at Park Hill. A big lustily blow there from Dylan Douglas. The 150 is up on the board for the Windward Islands. They're now 155. For the loss of 7 wickets. So, despite the fact that there's that continued loss of wickets, we see Douglas still trying to motor along. And apparently it appears as if that ball might not be retrieved. There's a fair amount of shrub at that end of the ground. Might be difficult to retrieve that ball at this point in time. Meantime, the reserve umpire brought out the box with balls. They're still trying to retrieve. There's someone in the bushes ahead of us. Not yet on your screen, but efforts being made to retrieve that ball that has seen 17 plus overs. So it's 155 for the loss of 7. And following their stay here in St. Vincent and the Grenadines, Nepal, they'll go on to Texas. They'll be playing a Houston 11 as they continue training, practicing for Cricket World Cup 2024 being hosted in the West Indies and the USA. Of course, St. Vincent and the Grenadines are preparing to host some 5 matches. And work is certainly moved along at the Arnesville playing field, where, as I speak to you, there is the installation of light towers, extensive work done on the outfield, on the pitch itself. There have been some rehabilitation work to the pavilions, and certainly Arnesville, which is a lovely cricket ground, it's a gem globally, certainly will be in all its glory as St. Vincent and the Grenadines hosts 5 T20 World Cup games for 2024. And doesn't appear as if that ball has been retrieved, so there's been a change in ball in the 17th over, as Douglas will now settle now as Rohit comes in. And outside the off stump, stayed along the turf for white signal there by the umpire, and they went through for a second. So 2 more added to the total. They should move on to 157 now for the loss of 7. 157 for 7. And Asifupa will now take strike. So the bearded Asifupa settles over his bat. And yet we see one of those, well, just a swapping of positions as Captain Rohit now comes in out to bowl to Asifupa. Hooper is forced back, but in the process is off for a very quick single. Just dropped it in front of him and immediately ran. And 1 more added. It's 158 for the loss of 7. 158 for 7. There's Rohit. Douglas gets one wide outside the off stump. No need to play. Signal a wide by the umpire. Rohit. And this one is high, hard, over the fence. And the 6 it is. Again, very close to that area, and for a moment, the fielder there on that long off position appeared as if he would have caught something, but was just toying with the spectators here at Park Hill, because that was gone for another 6 off the bat of Dylan Douglas. And taking the total now up to 165 for the loss of 7. Douglas is on to 44, I believe. Yes, he's on to 44. And, well, they're still trying to retrieve that ball. So that's 2 balls off the bat of Dylan Douglas yet to be returned. And should be seeing the reserve umpire coming in soon with a replacement. So we're yet to, well, the ball is actually now being returned. Now the question is, was that the first ball that was lost, or was it the replacement ball? I'm not in a position to say. The umpire will now have a look at it. And well, both balls are now back. So it's a question as to which ball will be used. And I believe they will resort to the original ball. That will appear to be the case. And Captain Rohit will continue the battle here for Nepal. 165 for 7 in this over number 18. As Dylan Douglas will prepare to take strike once again. Outside the off stump and another wide off the bowling of the Nepalese captain. Second wide of the over. Maybe being rattled a bit. Douglas hits this one high, hard, and the fielder's trying to get under it, can't, and that's 6 more. So Rohit coming in for a bit of a rough treatment here as signals with his bats. 50 on the board there for Dylan Douglas. And 172 now for the loss of 7. And with 2 overs after this one, there's still the possibility of a 200-plus score here by the Windward Islands Volcanoes, despite the fact that it appeared as if they would have lost their way in the middle. But with Dylan Douglas, who's in a no-nonsense mood, and Asif Hooper, who we know can power it, the possibility is still very much there. As now we see both batsmen getting their helmets. It's going to be Asif Hooper to face up Sompal, coming from the northern end. And the 19th over. Sompal Kami, it is. Asif Hooper taking guard. And with these 2 overs left, we certainly might very well see further explosions from this Windward Island Volcanoes team as Sompal Kami breaks into his stride now on the bathing sunshine here at the Parkhill playing field. Comes in on balls to Asif Hooper. This one off the bat into the pad. Very importantly, they offer that very quick single. And one more to the total is 173 for the loss of 7. 173 for 7. Cricket in action here in St. Vincent and the Grenadines. A rural ground, a ground that was put in place some 10+ years ago. It's really a beauty. It's nestled between the mountains in the back of the Atlantic Ocean. This one is a wild swing there from Douglas. And didn't get any bat onto the ball. Might have very well hurt himself in the process. Let's hope such is not the case. And I will go up and prods at the pitch as if to say, well, that was probably the pitch. But we in this commentary position know that's certainly not the case as Sompal races in. And this one is up in the air. Bowler's trying to get the catch. He's under it and takes it. Lovely work there from Sompal. And Dylan Douglas losing his wicket in the process, trying to certainly get as much on the board here for the Windward Island Volcanoes. Gone for 50, and it's now 150 for the, make that 173 for the loss of 8. Very important wicket of Dylan Douglas going down there for the Windward Island Volcanoes. So there you see Douglas making his way back in. And Sherman Lewis, the young Grenadian batter, more known for his exploits as a bowler. Sherman Lewis will join Asif Hooper at the wicket. And Sampal is back at the top of his mark. He's ready to continue. Lewis just taking his guard in the process. So Douglas really looking to get the charge on, and didn't get onto that one in the way in which he would have hoped to, and skied it, and the bowler taking the catch in the process. 173 for the loss of 8 to Windward Island Volcanoes. So here's Sampal Kami now to come into bowl to Lewis, and Lewis is looking to work one off his pads. It's down the leg side, and that's signal a wide there by umpire Butler. So one extra to the total. 174 now for the loss of 8. So Sherman Lewis. This one is looking to punch somewhere down to that long arm position, and ricocheted off his pads, found the 20 that fine leg position there, looking for a third, which is not there, and total will go on down to 176 for the loss of 8. And this is the 19th over. One more to come after this, and no doubt these two at the wicket will like to get as close as possible to that 200-run mark. 190 might still very well be a decent total here at the Park Hill playing field, as Sampal will coming out to bowl to Lewis, and Lewis is finding that one outside the off stump, got no bat on the ball, and that's a dot delivery, very important for the Nepal team. Total remains at 176 for the loss of 8. Sampal, as though it's awaits this one and getting bat onto the ball. It's gonna go over the fence there for 6 more, and that's what the Windward Island Volcanoes need at this point in time. They're up to 182 now for the loss of 8, and that's the end of a spell there from Sampal, picking up a couple of wickets here today at the Islands, at the Park Hill playing field, and in the process, of course, getting what we call in local parlance some stick in the process. So 182 for 8 with one more to come. It'll be interesting to see who's going to bowl this last over. Captain Rohit came in for some rough treatment, and I'll decide I'm not going to bowl this final over. Looks as if it's going to be Irie to bowl the final over. The Pindra Singh Irie, as Asif Hooper has gotten rid of the helmet, and at 182 for 8, we really want to get as close as possible to 200. Hooper drives down to long on. They take 1, and that's all it's going to be. 183 for 8 with 5 more deliveries remaining. So here's Irie. This time to Sherman Lewis, and Lewis is looking to work this one somewhere into that mid-wicket position. He got an outside edge, and it rolled all along the turf into the fence. And that's 4 very important runs there for the Windward Islands Volcanoes. So 4 off the bat of Lewis, not where he would have intended to, but nonetheless, runs are runs. And the total advance is now to 187 for the loss of 8. Lewis Just having a look around and knocks his pads in the process as Irie will come into bowl. And this one again, well, there was no bat on to ball, and it finds its way into the fence. 4 byes. So all important for the Volcanoes. 191 now for the loss of 8. And I believe we have some 3 more deliveries to come. Lewis with the bats. Certainly has not been commanding, but he's done enough to add 8 runs in the last 2 deliveries for the Windward Islands. As Irie now comes in. And this one is safe into the gloves of wicketkeeper Asif. And total remains at 191 for 8. Lewis. To this delivery, drives. And it's going to get pretty close to the fences. 4 well-taken runs. A wonderful off drive there from Sherman Lewis. 195 for the loss of 8. But it surely was a shot of a batsman of class. As he just leaned back and just drove that one into that cover boundary. And 195 as Irie with the final delivery. And batsman in the process taking the single. So 196 for 8. That's the end of the Windward Islands Volcanoes, just 4 runs short of the 200 mark. And they would have certainly had that big partnership between August and Kavem Hodge. Would have lost their way somewhere in the middle. But with the likes of that wonderful innings, I should say, from Dylan Douglas, pulling things back and ensuring that the Windward Islands put a very decent total on the board. 196 for the loss of 8, as we see the 2 players making their way back, and the Nepal team certainly heading off to take a break here at the Park Hill playing field. And runs on the board are certainly runs on the board, but this Nepal team has demonstrated that they do possess a fair amount of firepower. One recall that 206 made by the West Indies A when they visited Nepal, and the Nepalese team would have gotten across the line with almost an over to spare. So the Windward Islands certainly will have to make sure that they stick to the proper bowling plan and try to restrict this Nepal team to under 196. We're going to take a break at this point in time, and when we come back, of course, bringing to you live coverage of the response from Team Nepal.